Hello, model motoring enthusiasts. Wanted to show you guys something a little bit different here, and this actually could apply to both Slotcar 132 racers or other scales, as well as train people, model train people. I've found this website here called Slotcar Union that has a bunch of various little card models that you can build, or well, they call them paper models. They really want you to print it off on cardstock. And so I tried the first couple of these just to check them out. Let me show you what we got here. And I built these little shacks using their printouts that you can see back there. And they're basically supposed to be Marshall shacks. You can put them around the track wherever you like, and for train people they could be used as little train employee shack or something along the line where they put them, stuff like that we've seen before. So there's many uses you can come up with for this stuff. They also have considerably more complex buildings and things you can build, and like I said, this is called Slotcar Union, and these were the very simplest little things that I could build just to kind of get a start at it and try them out. And you can see what they look like here. They're kind of cool. They also give you these, as you see over here, they have some little people you can cut out and make so you can stick them inside there or around the track or whatever to give you a little bit more of a 3D kind of impression to these things. I'm going to show you a little bit of a close-up of the things themselves. So this was the first one that I built right here. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. And for this one, I did what a lot of people are going to end up doing for their first ones. I just printed it out on regular copy paper and glued that paper onto some thin cardboard that I have. This is not as good as printing it onto, printing it directly onto cardstock, but it was what I had handy and I thought I'd give it a try, and it seems like it's probably going to be what a lot of people are going to end up doing on their first runs. Find some old thin cardboard box, print this out on a regular sheet of paper and glue it up to the cardboard. But it worked out okay, other than the fact I screwed up a few things. I glued in the floor wrong, and I guess that's the main thing I did wrong with it, other than I ended up sticking myself to it and kind of pulling off some of the color. But you can see it's just a little shack. I didn't cut the windows out of this first one. I just did this as quickly as I could to slap it together and see what it would look like. And I was pretty happy with it. So I went on to number 2. And I did it the same basic way, gluing the printout to some thin cardboard that I had, and then cut it all out and assembled it. And I did cut out the windows on this one, which I think makes it look a lot better. And you can make this guy in here, go however you want him to go. But because these first two I glued up onto cardboard, I didn't really let the cardboard or let the glue dry quite well enough before I started cutting it. And so you can see where I pulled some of the coloring or the external paper off of my cardboard as I was trying to cut it, so it didn't look quite as pretty as it could have. Then I realized I do already have some cardstock in stock. And so I built this third one, and I printed it out of the cardstock as they recommend, and it made it so much easier. I mean, it's already printed. You don't have to go through that extra gluing step. You just cut it out, and this cardstock, the printable type cardstock that you can buy at the office supply stores, it's rugged enough to make these things. And, fold it all up and make your little shack. And so same with these people. They've got the all the printouts for them too, and you kind of glue them up, and you end up getting both sides of the person. I think you can see the back side here, but it's just a little flat character that you can stick around the track or put inside your shack or whatever you want to make it look a little bit more interesting. But anyway, I thought those things were pretty cool, and I thought I'd want to share that with you guys, especially if you're trying to work on a low budget and want to have a little bit of scenery, or maybe you've got a bunch of expensive scenery but you need a little piece to stick in between somewhere. You could use they have so many different designs here. You could use one of their designs that's the right size, maybe, or close to it, modify it, whatever, stick it in between your other stuff. Nobody really would probably notice that this is just made out of cardboard versus your other things that are really nice. Now I'm going to show you what these printouts look like also. Now this here, let me back up the camera a bit. Okay, yeah, whoops. So this here is the printout for that shack that I was just showing you. Let me turn it this way. That would work a lot better, wouldn't it? So you can see what we're dealing with here. It's just a one-page little printout. It's not too difficult. And you basically just glue this front side to the back side, and then you can cut everything out. Or actually, you probably want to cut everything out first. That's how I did it. I cut everything out first, glued the front side to the back side. Here's you actually get a couple of roof pieces. I guess you can kind of fold that over to make the roof double thickness, and you get a couple of pieces for flooring. I think maybe we could use one of those as an internal ceiling also if you wanted to. But that's, I think they call this the shack, Marshall Shack number 2. But like I said, this is their simplest thing. It's just it just requires one page to print out and do it. But to show you some of their more complicated stuff, this, whoops, let me get these out of here first. This here is basically the package of papers needed to build a 2-car Ferrari garage. And so you see right here, let me get that back on camera better. You can see that this is going to be the flooring. There we go. This is going to be the flooring of it. This is one of the sides to the building. And it shows where you need to position your decorations they should give you later. Here's the front and possibly the back of the building. And some more fronts and backs of the building so you can have interiors as well as exteriors. And kind of the same with this. It gives you the doors so you can either glue them in when they're closed or leave them open, or you can do it however you like. And you also get some, like show these decorations that are going to go on the outside of the building. You glue those on, and then you have some interior decorations here too that are toolboxes and some stuff, and a display monitor that can be glued interior, as well as all this, which is kind of the same thing. Let's zoom back out a little bit so you can see that. That's a bunch more interior details with toolboxes, etc. And I believe this is the ceiling, the interior ceiling, with its ventilation. And the exterior roof. So you can see on these bigger ones it's going to be considerably more complicated, but I think it's still going to be cool to build. And I mentioned those people. These are some of your folks that you got. You can print these out, cut them out, and make those little people for inside your buildings or whatever, as I showed you. Now, printing these out may be a little bit tricky for some folks. You may need to look at your printer settings while you're doing this to make sure that you're printing out at 100% rather than at the size to fit on the paper. That way it doesn't try to give you a bunch of extra border or something that you don't really want and end up cutting off your people's feet or heads or whatever it is that you're working on. You don't want it cutting off. You can see this one here, I printed that at 100% and it actually cut off the feet of, or cut off the bottom of the legs of these people on the bottom of the strip. So I had to go ahead and reprint them using the maintain borders or whatever setting, or you know, not 100% setting, but just go to the standard setting where it uses whatever borders the printer wants to give it and match the size to the paper. There we go. But those are still, that's only a tiny little bit smaller, and that will probably be just fine too. Not everybody's 8 feet tall. So anyway, this is about what it amounts to. You saw what I had going here. We've got some huts, some little huts for the marshals around the track. Make sure they can keep a good eye on what the cars are doing because, well, in my races, you better be keeping an eye on them. One last thing. I realized the cardstock that I used for this that actually worked really well, this is this particular stuff. Well, let me move these things out of the way. And I'm sure there's many other brands and just about anything would work. But the thing I wanted to show is this says to be 67-pound cardstock. And I don't know if they make it thicker or less thick or whatever, but this 67-pound cardstock, probably of any brand, would be just fine for this job and make it fairly easy to build these little buildings. So there you are. Well, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good week.